arguably the biggest news story in New Zealand tomorrow is going to be the hikoi, probably is the biggest news story today as well. They've had kind of a day off in Porirua today. Let's have a look what went on and what's expected for tomorrow.
Placards are being painted and security bollards installed. Thousands of marchers who've made their way from the top and bottom of the country in the nationwide hikoi are now in the capital making final preparations before descending on Parliament tomorrow. And as political editor Mikey Sherman reports, David Seymour wants the debate to continue about his controversial Treaty Principles Bill.
Of course he does, because this is one of those situations where any news for Seymour is good news. I don't believe that in general. People say that. It's not true. But in this instance, I think it's true. If anyone's talking about it, that's all he wants.
At Parliament today, they simply could not wait, an air of anticipation as tens of thousands make their way to the capital.
Probably roughly a 10-hour drive down here for us.
From the East Coast, they came for their young people.
The decisions and choices we make today will impact their future heavily, whether positive or negative, and so it's important that we come and support the kaupapa.
The reason it offends all of us is because it stands on our mana.
One group performed karakia.
We're praying to the one true God.
Praying to keep everyone safe tomorrow.
As a protection mo tātou tewi Māori tewi Pākehā.
Despite the promise of a peaceful protest, tensions will be high.
It's now plain for people to see you've got someone getting up, making an argument for how we can have a better New Zealand.
Sorry, do you realise he's talking about himself? He's talking about himself. Somebody getting up and making an argument for a better New Zealand. So he's actually, that's what he thinks his position in this is, just in case you were unclear.
Will be high.
It's now plain for people to see you've got someone getting up, making an argument for how we can have a better New Zealand, and a group of people who jump up, try and get in their face and do a war dance.
Te Pāti Māori certainly have the author of the Treaty Principles Bill in their sights.
I know the intention of them is to intimidate, and I just ultimately say to people, if you have to do a haka to get your point across, maybe you don't have a good argument.
There's an element of challenge, but also empowering ourselves to stand in our own truth in Aotearoa.
Extra barricades have been put in place, with flagpoles removed to deter would-be climbers. Precautions, some say, isn't needed.
I mean, I myself, I don't think that's necessarily needed anyway, but if I was running parliamentary grounds, you'd probably do it. You know, you get 1 or 2 or 5 people who want to go outside what the kaupapa of the actual group is doing. I mean, if I was in charge of those grounds, I'd probably do it, although I also don't think it's needed. So, you know, bob each way.
I think it's a health and safety thing more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, because even if it wasn't, if someone went up those poles and fell and broke their back, you know, OSH would be all over them.
Police minister saying, you know, there will be arrests if there are some unlawful. So, that's unhelpful.
One artist preparing to capture the moment.
I think painting the energy is actually captured in the artwork itself. You see it in the brushstrokes.
Earlier this year, he painted the hikoi at Waitangi.
Oh, that's
nice. You know, it might be some different clouds, but obviously the people will be the main feature tomorrow.
The Green Party caucus room packed with those making their mark.
The nation is moving.
That's pretty cool, eh? The Green Party caucus room. Get ready, getting into it, inviting people in.
We're all on their way to Wellington. Some are already here and we're all doing our preparations together.
Nearby workers received emails today to plan ahead.
No one's too worried about it. I think we all know what's happening, and, you know, we'll probably come check it out, and whoever wants to support will come support.
I think there'll be about 30,000 or so is what we're expecting to see, yeah, so big numbers.
It will actually be interesting to see the numbers, Chewy, because 30,000, I mean, we got 30,000 in Dunedin, yeah? I mean, I would hope to see more than that, but you also don't want to go out there and go, there's going to be 100,000. And if there's 35,000, it would be seen as a loss or you know, an overestimation. But I hope for more. I hope there's more than that.
I cannot wait to see what comes in from Lower Hutt tomorrow morning. You know, I don't think anybody really has a real handle on how many it's going to be. I am going to love that Seymour has been talking about thuggery and talking about the police and talking about kids being off unjustified and all of that sort of thing. And it is just going to be a peaceful but forceful show of numbers, basically. Like there is a petition circulating around at the moment with 200,000 signatures on it, saying that they should kill this bill. Like,
well,
there is support out there, and it's mass support. It's more. There's more people campaigning on that than voted for ACT.
Yeah.
You know, so this needs to be seen. Like, our members of parliament are going to be able to look out their office windows and see all of those people. And I hope it makes a difference. I saw Luxon's comments of like, he hasn't made up his mind. He might, he's ambivalent towards the whole thing, which came off really disrespectful.
Well,
he's minimizing it already.
They do cover it off in this. And the one thing that they say is he probably won't come out amongst the people, which I think probably, just thinking about it again, is fair enough. I mean, I don't think he's in any danger, like Jacinda certainly was, and was, but I get that. I get him not coming out, but he does say in this, maybe we'll keep playing from here. He does say at one stage that they, the Prime Minister may well meet with some of the delegates from the hikoi. Let's keep going, eh?
Because it's bloody hot right now.
Keeping the temperature down, the focus across the board.
All right, Mikey, who from the government could come out and meet the hikoi?
Well, ACT leader David Seymour said that he is open to coming out here onto Parliament's forecourt to speak with protesters tomorrow. But I understand that he wants an assurance from hikoi organisers that he will get a fair opportunity to speak and that he won't be shouted down or sung down, as was the case when he addressed protesters at Waitangi earlier this year. Of course, organisers may well promise that, but of course, for those protesters, who knows what will happen when they come face to face with the author of the bill that they so vehemently reject. So tomorrow will tell how that all plays out. In terms of the National Party, I understand that a small group of National MPs led by Māori Development Minister Tama Pōtaka, they will come out here to receive the hikoi. As for the Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, I'm told that he is willing to engage with this protest, but it's extremely unlikely that he will come out here onto the forecourt tomorrow. What is more likely is that he will hold a private meeting, and speculation is that could be with some of the hikoi organisers, or it could well be with the Māori Queenie Ngā Wai Hono i Te Pō, who is expected to make her way here tomorrow with Tainui as part of her role in supporting Māori during this time. Of course, if that meeting does take place, it'll be the first time that Christopher Luxon and Queenie Ngā Wai Hono i Te Pō meet since she has taken over the role of her father. She will bring tomorrow the message of kotahitanga unity as part of her late father's legacy.
So there's a second part of that story which we're going to play as well. But because we want to stand by, who we say we are and what we expect from others, I do want to say we just said 200,000 signatures, and that's more than the ACT Party got as well. ACT Party got 246,000 votes. Just to make sure.
So we need to get some more signatures on that.
So another 50,000 signatures, and then we'll prove Chewy to be correct.
Well, that's all I'm on. I'm just a time traveler. That's all I am.
This is I was watching the chat screen, but I didn't star any of the comments. But most people, when I was saying 30,000, I hope it's more. People say it's going to be more. 40 minimum. People are saying. So
I'm hoping for 50.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a couple of things that are really clear in what David Seymour said. What would serve his purpose greatly is if it does turn violent, which from everything I have seen from this movement, there is no chance. There's zero chance of them giving Seymour what he wants.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's so obvious. And I just find it, there is not a leader that has had more airtime on this than Seymour. He's always in front of the cameras. That's the debate he wants. He doesn't want to talk to these people. It would again serve his purpose if he is shouted down. So if he goes out, that's what he's hoping for.
That'll work
go
with
out
his
and go,
narrative.
I'm being the reasonable person and I'm just trying to open a dialogue, and all the Māoris just yelled at me, and see, they can't be bargained with, they don't understand compromise, wah. So my advice is, for what it's worth, don't invite him out. Don't ask him to come out. Ask the leader of this country to come out, because he made the deal. He birthed this absolute abortion, and it lands with him.
Yeah.
Now he does not want to get involved in this. He does not want a shred of this to stick to him. So he is the one that needs to front, not Seymour. Bugger him. He's got all of the airtime on this. You don't need to talk to him. You don't need to engage with him.
I really like what Kiwibird said. Kiwibird said this: Seymour has already had a say. Now it's our turn.
100%.
I think that's really good. And I think that's true as well, because like, here's the thing, we kind of touched on this last week about, the rules in Parliament. Oh, you've got to have the right rules. It's unparliamentary behaviour. Like, it's unparliamentary behaviour to call someone a liar, but it is correct parliamentary behaviour to try and change the founding document, kind of taking away the relationship that Māori have with the Crown. That's okay, but saying liar, well outside the bounds. And look, it's like, I think, depending on what the issue is, I think that rudeness, shoutiness, whatever you need to do, it can be okay. There's also times where it's not, right? But I don't think there's that old adage, okay, a tangent, I'm sorry, but there's old adage about, violence is never okay. Well, that's not actually true. Like, if your partner was walking down the street and your partner was getting hit in the head by some random, you wouldn't go, well, I would come and help you, love, but violence is never okay. All of these sayings that people have like that, there's extreme examples where they're okay, or that it works. And I think shouting and loud voices and, shut the fuck up, you've had your talk, you'll say it's our turn now, all appropriate. And in that setting, perhaps on the marae, in a more reverent moment, not appropriate, so I don't think Seymour will come out, and I think, Chewy, what you've said is completely accurate. He will get shouted down by the crowd, and it will serve his purpose to further his narrative of the unreasonable crowd not wanting to have a civilized conversation like those of us wanting to make a better country. So I think you'll probably see that tomorrow, because Seymour knows going out there and getting shouted down will further his narrative. His Atlas backers will love it. The savage natives. Look at those unkept savage natives. They can't even, we must come in and, colonize again. It's a recolonization, just in a different way.
He's already tried that. It's this thuggish war dance.
Yeah.
The fact is, what's really getting under his britches, the sand in his crevices that must have been annoying him all weekend, is Hannes Haka has done numbers. It has been remixed. It has been duetted. It has had people adding context. It's had people framing it for other Indigenous struggles around the world. It has sent a flare up that has been seen.
Yeah.
And Seymour can't argue with that. I've seen the official ACT Party campaigns running around and adding their own comment onto these videos on TikTok, going, well, actually, it's actually about this. It's about equality. That's fine. People see this for what it is. It has brought more recognition to this internationally than he would have wanted. Absolutely. And I think he has 100% misjudged how the majority of New Zealanders feel about this. You guys in the chat have all got stories about people that are maybe not plugged into the struggle normally, but this has got their attention. They don't think it's fair either.